back in 2012, the FBI released a list of what they considered to be street gangs in the United States. This list included classic ones like the Bloods and the Crips, some like MS-13, and also on that list, Juggalos. According to the FBI, Juggalos were just as dangerous as the Bloods, the Crips, the Gangster Disciples, the Latin Kings, and all the other street gangs you grew up knowing about. Because nothing strikes more fear into the hearts of men than people who party in the woods with their faces painted while drinking tons of soda and trying to figure out how magnets work. So recently, Insane Clown Posse filed a lawsuit against the FBI saying that they would like Juggalos removed off that list because apparently people that identify as Juggalos or Juggalettes are having a tough time. And apparently this case is gaining quite a bit of traction, so much so that the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU themselves, have partnered with the independent lawyers that are representing ICP in this case to help them win. So I decided to find out for myself what exactly Insane Clown Posse is trying to do to get Juggalos off of the FBI's list, and what exactly are some of the hardships that some Juggalos and Juggalettes have been going through ever since Juggalos have been deemed a gang. I first reached out to Insane Clown Posse themselves, but unfortunately they couldn't comment on the matter or come on the show because they're currently at work in the studio working on a project. But yesterday, I spoke to one of ICP's lawyers, and he was more than happy to give us some information on how the case is progressing. Check it out. Joining me right now, the lawyer representing Insane Clown Posse directly, one Farris Haddad out of Detroit, Michigan. Farris, thank you for taking the time, man. How are you?
Hey, thanks a lot, Sammy, for having me on. I really appreciate your guys' interest in the problem that we've all been having here for a few years now. Not
a problem, man. And yeah, let's actually jump right into it. You say a few years because this was first brought up in the middle of 2012, based on what you told me, when the FBI first claimed that they were going to be putting the Juggalos on a actual list of, I guess, would you call them like certified gangs in the United States, like right alongside Bloods, Crips, MS-13, stuff like that?
Yeah, you know, the FBI, starting in about 2006, the FBI started putting out an actual list of all the known gangs, street gangs in the United States, including motorcycle gangs, but mainly street gangs. And every few years they update it. Well, at the end of 2011 was the very last update, and that's the one that randomly, sort of out of nowhere, included Juggalos as a national criminal street gang, basically. You know, I've been a fan and a Juggalo since my early teens, and none of us, everybody thought it was weird, or it was funny, or some people even thought it was cool, to be honest with you. But we had no idea the consequences of it. So pretty quickly, within about 6 months or so, Violent J, who was one of the members of Insane Clown Posse, he approached me and said, "You won't believe the kinds of stories that fans are telling me after concerts and stuff like that." He said, "There's people who are being just pulled over and searched and arrested on their way to our concert. There's people who are they get put on probation or something, and as part of their probation, they're not allowed to listen to our music. They're not allowed to go to our concerts. They're actually violated for wearing our T-shirts and stuff like that." And he said, and on and on. And then what we decided to do was look into what we could do about it legally. What we did at the gathering in 2012, which was August of 2012, we announced that we would be taking some legal action. And what I did was, as part of the initial announcement, we set up a big, basically an office at the gathering of the Juggalos in 2012, where anyone who'd been affected by the gang designation could come in and interview with me and fill out a statement and stuff like that. I mean, there's just so many things. There's people Juggalos who've been serving in the military for, let's say, 10 years, and then all of a sudden, they have maybe a ICP CD and maybe like a little sticker of an album cover or something on in their barracks, and they were dishonorably discharged from the military after 10 years of serving our country.
So why then is the FBI specifically targeting Juggalos? I mean, in order to be put on this list, obviously there had to have been some sort of act caused by somebody that labeled themselves a Juggalo for the FBI to take notice. So when did this first start that the FBI was like, okay, maybe we should put them on par with all these other known street gangs in the United States?
we did a Freedom of Information Act request to the FBI. We got stonewalled for a little while. They didn't respond in time, and they didn't respond with anything. So what we did was we filed a lawsuit basically to force them to respond to the Freedom of Information Act request. Finally, through that lawsuit, we did get what they said was their basis for the designation of Juggalos as a gang, and we were just astonished at what it was. It was local internet news articles from different states around the country, mainly just a few, really, where there was some kind of crime, whether it was an armed robbery, or whether it was vandalism, or whether it was attempted murder, whether it was larceny, and all different types of small things where the suspect in the crime happened to be wearing an ICP logo or Psychopathic Records logo, which is their record label, on their clothing, or had an ICP logo on their MySpace page or their Facebook, or had a tattoo of an album cover or something like that. And that was it. That was literally all it was several news articles where local police might have been interviewed for, top story at 5, some kind of thing. And never more than like 1 or 2 suspects that just happened to be Juggalos. Police are using this sort of as an excuse to pull anyone who looks like they might be a Juggalo, whether it's through a bumper sticker or their hair or their T-shirt or the music that you can hear in their vehicle. Pull them over, search them, detain them. And the craziest thing one of the craziest things police have been doing is they don't find anything. They still arrest the people. And we got thousands of complaints about this. They still arrest people. They still take them to the station, and they photograph their T-shirts, their hair, their faces, and all their tattoos that happen to be ICP related. And then they put them in a gang database. One of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, his name is Brandon Bradley. He lives in the Sacramento area in California, and this is exactly what happened to him. He'd be walking down the street, walking to work or walking to school, to college or to work, and he would get pulled over by the police and questioned, how long have you been a member of the Juggalos? What are you guys up to? And he just baffled, because this is someone who's never committed a crime, didn't have anything, wasn't doing anything illegal at the time, and was just trying to actually pursue a career in criminal justice and college degree and stuff like that. And eventually he got photographed and designated in the gang database, and that's also followed him around.
So for those people that feel that this particular fan base should be designated as a gang, I mean, what's the counter argument? Because if there are instances where there have been people that have been committing crimes while wearing Juggalo gear or while wearing the ICP logo, people are obviously going to go, well, okay, there's your example right there. These people are clearly out committing some type of crime. They're wearing this type of logo. It's got to be a thing, right?
I like to liken it to, this isn't the first time that sort of a subculture has eventually developed around a certain genre of music. Think about the hippie movement in the 60s all the way through today. Think about the punk rock movement. Think about the gothic rock movement. And there's a lot of similarities there in that, a lot of them happen to dress the same way. They listen to the same music. Let's say you had some hippies who had committed a crime and they happen to be wearing a peace symbol or something like that. I mean, to actually make the whole group automatically criminals because of some bad apples in the group is completely un-American. It's something that maybe would happen prior to our Constitution or in certain dictatorships, but it's not something that should happen here. Everybody is free to express themselves however they want according to our Constitution, and they shouldn't be afraid to do that. The FBI estimates there's 1 million Juggalos in the United States. The percentage that have actually been documented to commit crimes is very, 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 very tiny percentage, much less than 1%. There's no initiation to become a Juggalo. There's no leadership. It's not a private club. There's no membership. There's no rules. You just have to anyone can consider themselves a Juggalo. It has no semblance to an organized criminal group, and especially the statutory and federal definitions of what a street gang really is.
All right. And then because of the lawsuit that you guys are currently placing on the FBI right now, I can only imagine that you're not trying to seek damages. You pretty much just want Juggalos removed from the gang list, correct?
That's exactly right. There's no damages at all that are being sought. Not by ICP, not by the individual Juggalos. There's no class action lawsuit for everybody to get some money or anything like that. There's absolutely no financial compensation that's being pursued. All we're seeking is to stop the bleeding, remove them from this gang list, which was a ridiculous designation that defied logic to begin with. And at that point, hopefully, what we're hoping is that some of these tragedies that have been going on will stop. There was a juggalette who was at the hospital with her husband giving birth to a child. Now, she happened to have a lot of ICP-related tattoos and stuff like that. And the whole time she was there, she said the nurses were being kind of weird, giving her some dirty looks and stuff like that, and she never thought anything of it. When she finally took her baby home a few days later, Child Protective Services had been called to her house. And they actually came in and saw that she had the tattoos, she had some T-shirts and stuff like that, and they actually opened an investigation. They put her children in protective services, and they opened an investigation as to whether she was a criminal gang member and whether she was fit to be a mother. There's been divorces where people have been using it against their spouse, showing a picture of someone at a concert or something like that, and judges have been eating it up, believe it or not. They've been saying, well, yeah, you were at this concert, your face was painted, you're wearing this T-shirt, and so therefore you affiliate with gang members, and you shouldn't get primary custody of your child. So it's just a lot of tragic stories, people that have had their lives torn apart, their children's lives torn apart. Just the consequences are outrageous.
Now, you're a self-proclaimed juggalo. How are you, I guess, in a way, avoiding being stopped by police and asked questions because you are affiliated technically with a federally recognized street gang? I mean, do you have Juggalo bumper stickers on your car? Are you ever wearing ICP gear? I mean, how are you avoiding prosecution, basically?
For me personally, like I said, to become an attorney, and luckily that was before this gang designation is when I became an attorney, I had to go through a really thorough background check through the state. And back then, the Juggalo thing never came up. But today, if somebody graduated law school, passed the bar, went to school all those years, wanted to become an attorney, and they were applying for their law license, they could certainly, people have been denied for a lot less than being affiliated with a street gang. And right now, for me, so personally, I'm kind of glad that I came out publicly because I do live in fear that, I definitely don't wear many of ICP logos or T-shirts or jerseys or anything like that when I'm out in public. I definitely worry that my law license could be taken away. The way I support my family, all the years in school could be thrown down the drain. And that's the thing. There's so many juggalos that wrote into us and that I've interviewed who are professors, doctors, psychologists, registered nurses, and they're all just scared that their professional licenses are going to be taken away from them, or if not worse. But then there's, on the flip side of it, there's several juggalos whose freedom has already been taken away.
Now that you guys have filed the lawsuit against the FBI, I mean, what are the next steps? What has to happen now so that juggalos can be removed from the federal gang list?
This lawsuit is literally that to remove them from the list, and that's the only goal of this lawsuit. There's 6 plaintiffs. There's Joe and Joey, or Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope of ICP, and there's 4 individual juggalos. It could have been 1. We made it 6 just to make it a little stronger. Again, it's not a class action. We're not seeking any money. We're just asking the court to order the FBI to remove them from the gang list, and if they have a more specific way after going after certain people that actually happen to be criminals and also happen to be juggalos, we're all for that. But we're all better served when the FBI spends its time going after actual criminals that they know are criminals and not violating the Constitution in the process and millions of people's lives, disrupting millions of people's lives.
Awesome. Well, listen, Farris, thank you so much for taking the time, man. Again, guys, we've been hanging out with Farris Haddad, who is an independent lawyer representing ICP, in this case, alongside the ACLU. Best of luck to you, man. I'm definitely on your side for this one.
Sammy, I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to explain what we're doing, and thanks for getting the word out about this problem.
No problem, man. Take care.